In this next Photoshop activity, what we're going to do is, it's a bit of a selection exercise, but first we have to create a blank document. So we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to make sure this is on pixels. It's very important this is listed as pixels on all of these and pixels per inch here. And we're going to go 800 by 600 and at 72 dots per inch. And make sure it's RGB color 8-bit and the background color is white. We don't have to name this because we'll probably won't save this. Anyway, click OK. And then, and that should be fine. If it's a little small on your screen, do a Command 0 and it'll just open up to be the appropriate size on screen. Now, I'm going to teach you about selection tools. Selection tools are basic things that allow you to select something out of a photograph and possibly cut them out and paste them into another photograph. And you just need to know how to use these tools. Now, the selection tools are here. You've got the rectangular marquee if you're going to draw something that's rectangular or square around an object. The elliptical marquee tool, which we've used in the big eye, and the red eye activities. And there's a single row marquee tool and a single column marquee tool here. In addition, if we go down to this one, this is the freehand tool, the lasso tool. And then there's a polygon lasso tool that allows you to draw straight lines in various shapes. And there's a magnetic lasso tool, which I'll show you how to use when we highlight a flag. And these last two, the quick selection tool and the magic wand tool, are for very specific uses, which I will show you later on. But for this activity, we're just going to be using the polygon lasso tool and the elliptical marquee tool. So in this one, I call this the Wow Mom activity because you can either write a W or an M here, but we're going to actually write out the word wow. And all I'm going to do is click, click, and on every vertice I make a click and then I drag. I don't hold the mouse button down. All I do is click at each vertice, like this. And I go like that, click, click. And then once you get close to the end, you'll notice that a circle forms. Once you see that circle, you can click and it'll close it off, or at any point close to it you can just double click. So if I double click from here, it closes off the object. Okay? So now we're going to add another W, and this is the selection part that you have to understand. In order to add, we need to hold down a key. If I just click right now, watch what happens, it actually eliminates what I've just done, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I spent all that time, and I end up with nothing. So if that ever does happen, just go back in your history one step, and there you go. Okay? So in order for me to continue while leaving the previous selection, I have to hold down the Shift key, and you notice now there's a plus sign beside the polygon lasso tool. And now I can draw my second W. Click, 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 and back up, click. There we go. And now I'm going to add an elliptical marquee tool, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag out a circle, because now, oops, well, that's actually okay. I accidentally let go of the mouse a bit too soon. I wanted it a bit bigger, but that's okay. Now I've got the additional circle. Now what I want to do is I want to cut out a circle in the middle. Now, so in order to add all these options, I've been holding down the Shift key. In order to subtract, I have to hold down the Option key, and you'll see a little minus sign there. And now all I'm going to do is drag out a little ellipse like this, and now I've got wow. And so that's a big selection. And the cool thing about a selection is the only thing you're going to affect on screen when there's a selection is whatever is captured by this selection. So if I wanted to fill the screen with color by using the paint bucket tool, which could be on the gradient tool, so if you're wondering where the paint bucket tool is and you've got the gradient tool, just choose the paint bucket tool. So I've got the paint bucket tool selected. Now I can go down to here and choose a color. So this is my foreground color, black. This is my background color, white. If I want to change the color, if I click on the foreground color, it allows me to choose a color. So I'll choose this sort of light blue color and just click in here, any color I want, maybe a little darker. Click OK, and see now it's this color. Now if I click fill, it fills. Okay. And if you'd like to do some fun stuff with this, you could actually switch it back to black and white by clicking this. And if I want to put little shadows on or something, I can airbrush some shadows in. So I'll just soften that edge significantly, increase the size just a touch, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, like that. It's good. And then if you want to put shadows along the edge like this, it's always fun. Oop, jumped out a bit. And because it's an airbrush, it just puts a very light shadow in. Let's do that. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do it there. That's okay. And you might put a shadow around here. It's a bit heavy on the shadow. And then if you wanted to put a highlight, you can flick to here, and you could put highlights along this edge. Or you could say a highlight along this edge. And then, oh yeah, I forgot to put the inside shadow on this one. There. Giving that illusion of 3 dimensions if you put shadows and highlights on. Okay? And if you don't want to do that, let's go back before the paint bucket tool. And you want to try something interesting as well. You could also try the gradient tool. And then, right now it's going from black to white. So if I drag across here, in this direction across all of it, it'll go from black to white. Or if I go up and down, I could go like this. I could go from black to white in this direction. Okay. Or if I want to change the color scheme, I can actually do this. I can click here and I'll say my foreground color is, say, red, and then flip it. Oh, click OK. And then flip it, and then click again and say go to like a yellow. And go OK. And we can just drag across again, and we get that gradient. Or we could do one from here like this, and you can get like a sunset. Anyway, play around, and that's how you do selection, and hope you get an understanding of how selection works on a photograph.